Hey everybody, this is Mike Schrank. Welcome to this series of 10 bot demos and code reviews for the book, Developing Bots with Selenium Python. If you got here via a link from the book, well, thank you. If you got here because you used a shared link, well, thank you as well. But please remember to like and subscribe below.
The creative misapplication of technology.
Hey everybody, welcome. This is Mike and this is Project 7 in a series of 10 videos that correspond to projects in my book, Developing Bots with Selenium Python. This one is on test engineering. It's our only test engineering example in the book, which is a little bit ironic because most people use Selenium and Selenium Python for testing websites and web applications. So before we start, a disclaimer. If you've been following along for the last 10, 15 years or so, you'll know that I write bots for other reasons. I do have a test background, but it was like way back in the 90s. It was on electronic hardware and not software. Most of the activities that I'm involved with that use bots involve collecting market data for competitive intelligence purposes, for setting prices and controlling inventory and that kind of stuff. But I wanted to do one test engineering example with this regression test. So your first question might be, what is a regression test? Every now and then, sometimes old bugs will become reintroduced into your code, into your production code actually. It's called regression tests. Check to see when these regressions reoccur. You can also do some other things in this regression test as well. Here, let me show you a little bit here what I mean. So here we have a website. It's not elegant. I mean, it looks like a mid-90s GeoCities website, but for our purposes, this is going to work out just fine. We have a website, and it has a number of pages on it. We're going to write a bot that downloads the home page and downloads all of these links. And for all of these pages, it will do a little bit of diagnostic work for us. It's going to do things like it's going to collect the URL, it's going to collect the protocol that it connects with, the size of the page, the title of the page. They attempt to do some SEO kind of stuff here. Granted, I know that keywords don't have the value that they once had, but they are keeping track of the keywords and the number of times each one of those keywords is used within that web page, which is a bot demo. So it loads the first page, and it should be gathering the links, recording the load times. So you see that it doesn't actually take that long to do this. You want to be careful if you're doing a lot of testing on your own server that you're not hitting it too hard, because you can affect the performance of the server in this way. I did an intrusion test once on a website for a client where I ran Megasploit, which is a tool that is used to detect weak spots in your website. And I knew it was going to load down their website pretty well. So I told them, I said, I'm going to be running this tool. It's going to take about 20 minutes, and I'm going to do it at such and such time, and you might notice some performance issues. They said, okay, fine. So I ran the test, no issues. The site was secure. About a week later, they come back and they say, Mike, stop running that test. You're killing our performance. And I go, I'm not running a test. And I ran back to make sure I wasn't running a test. What happened is one of the marketing people set up some little bot that monitored, I think, ads or something. And it was hitting the website so hard that the website was hardly useful. So be careful with your diagnostic tools. You don't want to run them too fast. Typically, something like this would be run maybe several times a day, maybe once an hour. It would be run in either a cron job or some type of a scheduled task. And really good ones would actually do something. For example, if it crossed some threshold of change, maybe it would revert back automatically to an old version of the website, and of course notify you that it did that. Maybe it would look for misspelled words. Maybe we look for links that are going to offsite links that are not authorized. Perhaps we're looking for dead links. There are a lot of things that could be done here, a lot of very useful things that are not being done here. But again, I'm just trying to introduce the topic and give you some idea what this kind of stuff looks like. The code for running these tests is really really pretty straightforward. Again, we're in the framework, so we're not concerned about anything that happens before or after the payload. Anyway, we're going to be storing all this stuff in a CSV file. If you go on to chapter 22, Big Data is a Big Headache, you'll find out why. What happens is we will be creating a directory for each one of these web pages, and that's where we store a log, which is a CSV file. Plus, we're also going to be storing a bunch of screenshots in there as well. So the first thing we do once we load seed URL, that is a term. Basically, spiders need to start someplace. In other words, you need to seed the system. That's known as the seed URL, and that's what spiders use. So technically, we're writing a spider here. All right, so the first thing it does is it gathers all the links, and it does that by creating a variable called HTML, which is using libbot's get web page contents, so that all the contents of the page comes right into the HTML variable. And then we create something called our links, which is an array full of links, and we're using parse array from libparse to do that work for us. Basically, we're just grabbing anything that exists between an href and the quote tags, which happens to work in our case. And I realize, yeah, this won't work in every case. Your parsing might have to be a little more effective than this. This would be a good use for XPath, by the way. We verify that there are no offsite links. In other words, we don't want to write a spider that spiders the internet. We just want to contain it to our website. So we check here to make sure that our valid links actually are linking to our own website, and we do that by looking for the occurrence of the word mepso in the absolute address of the URL, which we're getting right up back here, which is also another feature of libbot. You can get the absolute address from a relative URL. So now we're going to conduct a test on each one of these pages. So the first thing we do is we initialize our array, and we load in the first element the start time of the test. Next one gets the absolute address of the test. See how this is not rocket science here. The next one we get is the document name. So again, this is the name of the script that we are using here. And this is actually used as well to define what the name of the folder is going to be that we put all this information into. And here, if that folder doesn't exist, we'll create it. Otherwise, we'll just leave it alone. And here, if the log file is not created, we'll just go ahead and create one. Then we go on and we record the load times. And we go on and we record the page title. And notice how we just append the array with this information. And again, this is where we're going to define what these elements are. We record the length of the web page. Again, this is the length in bytes. Here we go off and we parse all the keywords and we save them. Again, in libparse, there is a function called parse keywords that'll parse all the keywords off of a web page. We're looking for the number of times each one of these keywords occurs in the web page. And we're storing that off in the sixth element. Then we go ahead and we write that line out to the CSV file. Then one additional thing we do is we grab a screenshot of the page. And this is how this is done. There's actually, from driver, there's a save screenshot. You just need to tell it where you want to put it, basically. And that is it. If we failed to download the initial page, it would fail right here. Let's take a look at what all of this does for us. So we end up with a directory called test logs, where we have a file, or we have a directory of each one of these web pages. If you ever see one of these, a DS store, this is basically just user preferences, Microsoft user preferences. Let's go into one of these. So we can see now when each one of these tests ran, because we create that snapshot of the page. Again, this is the About Us page. Let's take a look at that. And there it is. There's the About Us page. Also in that directory, we will have a CSV file called logs. And if we go ahead and look at logs, here we can see all the data that we collected. We can see the timestamp of when the data was collected. This is the URL. This is the path. You notice something interesting here. Between here and here, the protocol changed. It went from HTTP to HTTPS. That's when I went from my old service provider to the new one. We look at the path. Here we look at the title. This is the size of the page in bytes, looking for changes there. And again, if there are changes, you should probably trigger a notification to tell somebody that things have changed. This is kind of cool. The keywords and the keyword occurrence. Here, the way they're set up, they read right across from each other, so we can see just how many times each one of these keywords occurred on each one of these pages. Anyway, that is regression testing. I'm sorry, and I admit this is not my area. I am more of a competitive intelligence person, but I really hope this has been helpful to you. We will see you in Project 8, where you will solve CAPTCHAs.